Okay, yeah, let's start.
Yeah.
Everyone's here. All right. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, Tokyo, and everyone watching us remotely. So here we have Nassim Adjou and Frederic Busser and myself. We're both co-founder of Bubbler, which is a virtual office solution dedicated to companies operating in remote and hybrid work. And we're providing an innovative approach to collaboration, like virtual collaboration. We focus on preserving company culture, serendipity, and the well-being of our employees. And today we're going to talk about metaverses and what's going to be the future of work. So let me just quickly just show what's our company about, just like a quick video, and then we can jump to a topic. Let me share my screen. This one. All right, I hope you can see it here. Let me play a video.
Hi, Jess.
Good morning.
Hi, Bob.
Hey.
See you at the meeting in 5 minutes.
Yeah, sure. I'll see you there.
Morning, morning.
Morning.
Amir, remind me that we have to talk about the prototype after the meeting.
Yes, sure.
Hey guys, sorry I'm a little late.
Okay, everyone, let's start the meeting.
Thank you. I will share with you our latest data. Here is the graph for 2021.
You wanted to discuss about the prototype?
Yes, Amir, I have some concern about the design. Oh, there's Lynn. She always have good inputs. Come with me. Good morning, Lynn. I would like to introduce you to Amir, the head of the dev team. Could you have a look at the design and give him some recommendation, please?
Yes, no problem.
Great. I'd like to discuss together. I need to catch up with Jess.
See you.
See you.
So voila, this is what we do. I invite you to go on our website if you want to have a look, bubbler.co, and let me stop the sharing. And now I can give the hands to Nassim, co-founder and CEO. Let's go, Nassim.
Yes, thank you, Frederic. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to be part of the Siggraph and to talk about the subject metaverse and the future of work. So as mentioned, Frederic, we have been involved in the future of work for more than a year right now, developing our platform Bubbler. Basically, this is working from the metaverse, working from Bubbler. So I'm going to share my screen. This is my turn to share my screen. Here we go. So
yeah, we have it.
Today the subject is the future of work in the metaverse. Based on what is Bubbler, we decided to narrow down that subject to the future of the office and what we call metaverse and immersive collaboration. To make it a bit easier to understand, I'm just going to use a straight case, from a CEO. So meet Bob, who is the CEO of a company, and which mission is to leading towards success. Now, in the COVID area, we're going to show and we're going to try to explain how Bob, can take decision and switch his company culture to a metaverse-oriented company culture. So here's the situation. So pre-COVID, in terms of strategy for his workforce, Bob have two tools. The first one are collaboration tools. It can be CRM, can be project management tools, which help his company, being productive. On the other hand, Bob is going to have an office, and his office is a tool for him to build a company culture. Thanks to his office, he's going to be able to create engagement, he's going to be able to attract talent, and he's going to be able to work on synchronous collaboration. Synchronous collaboration is exactly what we are doing now. The live collaboration. Asynchronous is email, Slack type of collaboration. And then when you add these two ingredients, what's happened is you create innovation and you create productivity, which are the two key ingredients, for Bob to make his company working. But COVID happened in 2020. COVID happened and it creates, two long-lasting trends. The first one is the adoption of remote work. So most of the study and most of you around the world, did like the remote work and adopt this way of working. And all the studies are showing that most of the people does not want to work from the office 5 days a week, but want to have at least part time of their work from their home. We're not going to lose too much time to explain why. Flexibility. You don't need to go to take the subway. You don't need to do traffic jam. So it's pretty obvious in some way. And this leads to really a phenomena of decentralization of workforce. Most of the workforce were in some hubs, big town or like second size town. And now more and more people, and this is a trend that we see more and more in North America, because the country is really spread and really big. More and more people, decide to move out and to go back either in their hometown, town with better weather, and most likely with cheaper, cost of living. And so this creates what we call post-COVID, a distributed workforce. So which means that your whole workforce is not working for the same building or for like different buildings from the company, but is spread around the country or even spread around the world. So it's going to be more and more difficult for you to bring them all together in the same physical space. So in the post-COVID workforce, Bob, our CEO, still have like all his collaboration tools and all his asynchronous like collaboration tools, but he can't bring all his staff back to some place to his office. So Bob have a problem, and Bob have a question: how can I manage to keep my people engaged? How can I manage to keep my company culture strong and to be able to attract people? How does I do to train people when they just arrive in the company? How can I do to make them belong to the community of the workforce? So what are the requirements for that, with that new office, or what's going to be the substitute of the office? The first requirement, of course, it has to be accessible from anywhere, because that's the main condition. Your people are not somewhere, they are anywhere. In the same time, they have to be able to create community. These new tools is made to create community, because with community, you create engagement and you create attraction, which is like the key elements which are missing for our CEO, Bob. And the last one is to create synchronous collaboration. It has to be live, because you already have email, you already have Slack, you already have like CRM, you have a lot of tools, for asynchronous collaboration, but you need synchronous collaboration, what we call serendipity. You need your people to be able to bump up to each other, and from that they can create innovation. So now Bob knows what are the requirements for this office of the future, but how he's gonna find it. So basically, which industry, which people are already being able to succeed, create community from anywhere in life. So Bob is looking through the gaming industry. As you can see, lots of large companies succeed to create immersive environment where people just came there not to play, but just to gather and to have like social interaction. The two big examples, and the first one doing that has been Second Life. You can see on the left of my screen, which has been the first immersive environment that we call Metaverse, which creates social interaction. The second one on the right, which is one of the key ones, starts from gaming and evolved to a social platform on top of gaming. It's like Fortnite from Epic Games. It's interesting because the CEO of Epic Games is one of the leaders to the transition, to the Metaverse. He has strong opinion and is leading the path for a lot of companies through, his engine, Unreal Engine. This could be a question for later if we want to talk a bit more technical. So let's get back to Bob. So Bob looked at the gaming industry and realized that the Metaverse can be a solution for him to create his new community, his working community. So Bob has a question now, because Metaverse is a term which exists in science fiction for a long time, but with this mass market for really like a short time, especially, since like Facebook changed its name to Meta and tried to, you know, democratize like the metaverse. So Bob was thinking to himself, what is the metaverse and how do I access to the metaverse? How do I bring my people, you know, for the future in the metaverse? So if you want to give a quick definition to the metaverse, there is a lot of them. The first ones come from the book Snow Crash, you know, which has been one of the reference in science fiction, especially about the metaverse. What we can do to summarize what is a metaverse is a shared extended reality, which means that, you know, most of the people believe about like virtual reality where you are immersed in a brand new world, which is a metaverse, but adding a layer in the actual world, like augmented reality, is a metaverse too, because of course you augmented the reality and you extended it. And of course, the main requirement is it has to be shared. It not has to be something that it's only for you. It has to be something where you can share with other people. So there is a sentence, and I could bridge a physical gap and open a whole new world of communication, because metaverse, it's about communication too. So how do I access to the metaverse? So how do I access to the metaverse, and how does I work from the metaverse? Right now, in our like existing market, there is like 3 ways to access to the metaverse. What we call WebXR, which can be joined, you know, from a computer, from a cell phone. Virtual reality, what we call VR, which can be like joined from any like virtual reality hardware. One of the most popular one is the Oculus Quest 2 from Meta or from Facebook, but there are a lot of like a different company we release a lot of headsets. And how to access from the metaverse to bring the metaverse to the real world through augmented reality, either with like a cell phone, iPad, but most likely through like AR glasses. A lot of companies are doing AR glasses. Magic Leap is one of the main ones, but you have like lots of companies doing that. It's important maybe to notice that a lot of VR sets now are trying to do mixed reality, and they're trying to bring AR and VR together. I invite you to check out this French company called Lynx. So this is the VR set that you can see directly on our screen, which mix like AR and VR to the same hardware. So now we know how to access to the metaverse. Let's see how Bob will take a decision to, what technology should I use for my new virtual office to create my community? So let's start by WebXR. Let's start by the WebXR. So what are the advantages for virtual office in WebXR? The first one is inclusive, the inclusivity. Of course, you know, you reach like virtual environment directly from your computer, so you don't need to get an onboarding to a new technology. It's pretty easy. The second one is like, it's pretty cheap because no hardware investment. You don't have to buy like either VR glasses or AR glasses for your whole staff. And it makes it, you know, really straightforward and really a technology which is ready to use. And the last one, I would say it's a video integration. Because you are using your phone or you are using your computer, you can record yourself. You can use a webcam, and then basically in the metaverse, you're going to be able to see your own face and to see your facial movement, which is not going to be the case for the 2 other technology, but we're going to see it later. So here's the advantage of the WebXR. So here's some example of virtual office, so of like working from the metaverse. Of course, everybody believes on a really immersive like a technology, but metaverse can be quite simple. You know, as you can see on the left side, metaverse can be just a new environment where you can move within the environment. You know, it's a shared reality, extended one. And so you can see it's on the left, on the right, as a version of like WebXR in 2021. What are the challenges for this industry? What are the challenges for the metaverse in WebXR? They're going to have a challenge with the quality because, of course, because it's supported by web browser and by your like computer hardware, it's really difficult to be to have a good bandwidth and to have a high quality. Frederick maybe will mention a bit later if you have a question about that. But the release of the new web GPU is going to be a big jump in the WebXR environment. The second one is the number of users. Basically, if you want to use your camera and to be able to move within an environment, at this point, there is lots of development which needs to be done in RTC, real-time communication, because most of the platforms are not able to support above like 50 people. And if you want to put WebXR for a really large corporation, it's going to be like difficult. It's going to be difficult. Okay, so what should be the WebXR in 2023 in 2 years? So most probably it's going to be like much more immersive environment, which is going to be able to be joined by VR or directly on your computer. And it's going to be much more immersive than what is on the market. This is what Bubbler is working on ourselves. So here's the WebXR in 2023. So now let's talk. Okay, so Bob is happy with this solution, but he wants to know more. So let's talk about, this is a WebXR market player right now. This is the 3 leading company. So Bubbler is one of them. Frame VR is the second one, and Mibo is the third one. Lots of companies, focus on the virtual office in the metaverse. So now let's talk about like the VR one, because Bob wants to know what's going on with the VR. We hear a lot about VR recently, especially since the release of like the Oculus Quest 2, which has been sold like 10 million VR sets. I think the first 3 months. It has been released in October 2020, which explains why we heard a lot about like VR, especially since Facebook changed its name to Meta. So what are the advantages of VR? As most of you know, if you try a VR headset, I mean, it's really immersive. It's something next level in terms of like metaverse, because you really be part of like a 3D environment. If you look on the left, if you look on the right, when you're inside, you really immerse, which is going to increase a lot your engagement. You really gonna feel that you're part of the place where you are, which is a bit less the case for WebXR because you're in front of your computer. And I would say those are good point right now is like the product is available for the mass market. Still an investment, it's still a challenge, but right now you can get like a VR headset for like between $300 and $500 if you buy it in retail price. But of course, if you buy it like, as a company, you're probably gonna get like better deal. Just for an example, Accenture is like a consulting company, purchased 60,000 like Oculus Quest 2, I think a few months ago, to really bring office culture and like, virtual office to another level for his own staff. Of course, there is really few feedback right now because it's been a brand new experiment for them, and it's going to be really interesting for the future of work in the metaverse. So what is important to know is like right now, just in 2021, 71% of the company having VR in their practice are using it for training. Really important tools and really strong tools to train people. When people arrive, especially when they have tasks in difficult area and you want them to get trained from a safe area, from your own like facilities, VR for their own place, VR, it's really the future. Lots of companies, especially like industrial companies, are already using them, to train their supervisor for like really dangerous tasks. There is a lot of application in the army more and more. It's like if you have a mine, it's easier to do it through VR because it can be exactly the same protocol than to go by yourself, in a minefield. So that's about like VR. Right now, it's really focused on like training. What are the challenges, for the VR and, for the VR, the metaverse through the VR for the future of work, to get the next step? The first one is the democratization of VR use, because despite they sell a lot of like VR headsets, still a major part of the population never try VR. And then when you try to build the future of work, when you're going to try to build your office in the metaverse through VR technology, it has to be inclusive. It has to be, everybody from your office has to be able to join. And some people still have like trouble because the technology is really good, but it has to get better to be really inclusive and to be able to spend a long amount of time on VR. If you want to know, most people using VR is for sport right now. That's why Meta or Facebook push a lot about that. But more and more companies, are developing tools for productivity and for collaboration on VR. The second challenge, and maybe it would be good if I can show the video, but maybe later because I think I share only that screen. It's about, the avatar. So as you can understand, avatar is a key component on the metaverse, one of the key components on the metaverse. And for WebXR, most of the technology developed directly the webcam, which is an avatar with your webcam. So it kind of solves the issue of sharing facial emotion. Of course, with VR, you can't film yourself because you wear glasses already. So what has been leading the way and paving the way, on the VR is what we call meta-human. So basically, with some captor, they are able to recreate the facial emotion to your own avatar. And your own avatar is going to look really a lot like you. Of course, you can decide to have something different, but for the future of work, most of the avatar is going to be, a copy of yourself. And then the key component is to try to spread the facial emotion to people, because for collaboration, to exchange ideas, from managerial point of view, it's going to be really important to be able to understand if the guys or the girls you're talking with get what you're saying, seems to be against, seems to smile. It's going to be difficult. So I'm probably, if I click on the link, I'm not sure. Frederic, tell me if you can see the video.
Yeah, not yet. No, it's not. I guess you need to.
Okay,
yes,
so I'm going to try to share. We have no rush. The screen here.
Yeah, we see it now.
Okay.
I'm not sure
So
the
this is
sound.
yeah, but the sound is not really important on it. So it's really to try to show to people what do we call meta-human. So as you can see on the left, the real, filming with his camera, and on the right, the main screen, what we call a meta-human. So this is not a real person. This is programmed by computer. So this is under development, leading the way by Epic Games. So Team Sweeney, who did Fortnite. And this is what they develop on Unreal Engine. It's really bluffing. I mean, it's really well done. At this point, not really ready for the VR. It's really prototype. It's going to take lots of data. And they try to figure out how to integrate that to the VR, but we're almost there. So if I get back to my presentation. So here's the challenge. Once the challenge is going to be resolved, we're going to reach a next level of collaboration tools and future of work tools. So recently, I think a couple of days ago, Bill Gates, so it's not no one, Bill Gates mentioned that 2/3 of the meeting in 2023 will be taken from the metaverse. So of course, they love the headline. But it's something that we think more and more, and with remote working getting more and more a standard, we can see that coming. So here's a picture, of what's gonna look like, maybe collaboration in 2023, with, as you can see, avatar and directly immersive office through VR. The leading company, I mean, that's a really big market. So the leading company are of course, Meta or Facebook. They have something called Workroom. Horizon workroom. So basically, they build a whole environment which is not only for work, but which is like for hangout, which is called Horizon. And within that, they have subcategories, including like Horizon workroom. Spatial has been a big one, Spatial, especially in VR. They're based out of New York. They exist for like, I would say 4 or 5 years. It's one of the leaders on the market. And of course, Microsoft, Bill Gates, if Bill Gates says that, it's because there is a reason behind. They are working on a program called Microsoft Mesh, which is going to be, you know, immersive, like VR meeting. And they do some partnership with Meta, so I presume that it's going to be available on like Oculus Quest 2 too. So here's the future of like the office through VR collaboration. Now, let's go to the augmented reality. This one is really different from the other one because as a metaverse, you're going to bring information from, you know, virtual information into the real world. So the way you are seeing kind of like reverse from, you know, VR. And this is one of the strengths, I think, of the AR technology. It's like really a bridge between physical and virtual because you're still going to use a big part of like the physical and the real world, which is not the case for both AR and for both VR and WebXR. The other point, which is like really making difference right now, is lots of companies are working on like what we call volumetric video. I presume if you're on Siggraph, you may have heard about it, which is basically like 3D videos, and you can go, then you can see either through your phone, but through like AR glasses. And this is gonna really lead to like, you know, what we call hologram discussion. Most of you, if I have not say all of you, probably have seen Star Wars. And this is what like AI is kind of like bringing in terms of communication. So for the Star Wars fan, you know, it's gonna be cool. So right now in the work, AI is mostly used for prototype. Of course, because it's gonna make you able, you know, to see a 3D, either like, you know, a model of, most likely it's used like, you know, in engineering and in construction, in architecture, you know, like to visualize like building, but it's used in the car industry, you know, most likely, most of the time, you know, as a sales tool for, you know, key decision people, you know, to make the right decision, to have like more information and more data for them to make the right decision before building like real prototype. So this is right now where like the AR technology is positioning itself in the future of work, but we all believe that it's gonna be much more than this small part. So here, as you can notice, I didn't put 2023, but I put 2025. The main reason is because of the AR glasses or glass, you know, development. I think it's pretty behind, despite, you know, Google released glasses like 15 years ago, or, you know, it's pretty behind the VR technology because the technology is more difficult to handle. And what's happened is like most of the powerful or important, like, you know, AR glasses are outside the mass marketing price, the mass market pricing, because, you know, it's gonna cost like over like $1,000 to get like a, you know, a powerful glasses. As you can, most of you have heard like Facebook released one for like, you know, $400 or $300 with Ray-Ban, but basically not AR glasses, just like a camera filming like on the side of the frame of the glasses. Magic Leap is kind of like a big player too, but their glasses I think is around $700, and they're brand new and not like that powerful, you know, for like a really professional use. Lots of brands exist. Most of them are like, you know, above $1,000, which is like pretty expensive, you know, for the limited use of it. And the last point I think is the live volumetric video. So right now you can pre-record video, which is gonna be, you know, a hologram or gonna be like, you know, a volumetric video. you can record or you can be live with the video, but you have to have a green background. It's not the case from everybody. And so they are not yet ready with a live volumetric video which is gonna make us able, you know, to be like in a 3D through AR glasses and to be able to talk, either your phone or AR glasses. And there is a lot of companies, and I'm gonna show you because they are kind of the leader in the AR industry who are trying to develop this technology. So what's gonna look AR in 2025, I think it's a good range, 4 years, you know, in the future of work. And, you know, for our friend Bob, how can he use AR, you know, to run his company? So here you go. I think it's a good representation of the use of AR. As I mentioned, I call it the bridge because it's going to bring a bridge between all the people who are in the office and all the people who work from distributed place. So here you go. By using AR glasses, you're going to be able to see volumetric, you know, hologram and video from different people. So let's switch. Who are the leaders there? The leaders there, you know, and I'm really not talking about like hardware, but I'm more talking about software and about, you know, who bring, you know, interesting solution for the future of work with AR. Cisco is one of it. Cisco is really working hard on, you know, what they call a holographic, you know, like video, where you're going to be able through AR glasses to talk to an hologram, exactly the videos and we just showed you before. Vologram and Beam are two companies working really hard and doing lots of progress and helping a lot of the industry through like volumetric video. So they're really companies who try to make live volumetric video happening. And hardware, cheap hardware plus live video, it's gonna be what you see in the video, the future of work in the metaverse through AR. So let's back to Bob. So Bob now understands that he's gonna be able to make his company work from the metaverse, you know, whatever the technology is gonna decide to use, which is gonna be like, you know, proper to his budget, to who works in the company, the size of the company. But now we got all the information. So the question for him is like, should he keep physical office? So in the future of work, is the metaverse is gonna take it all, or are like physical office are gonna still exist? There is different answer to that, but let's say then for company we're gonna go fully remote, and most of the company gonna go fully remote are gonna be small company, you know, below 50 people. It's possible to just have an office in the metaverse, no office in a physical one. And this is what you're gonna be, a remote company. But most likely what's gonna happen is gonna be a mix of it, a mix of like an office in the metaverse and an office in like a physical world. This is what we call a hybrid strategy. And this leads to another subject that maybe we can talk in the question about what they call digital twins. Digital twins is a really important term in the metaverse, which means that basically you're gonna duplicate reality and bring it to the virtual world. And what most of the companies are gonna do is they're gonna create a digital twins of their existing office into the metaverse. So people, if they're in the office or if they're into the metaverse, they're not gonna be lost. You know, it's gonna be like, the same office. Just one is gonna be able to join with one click or by wearing your VR headset. The other one is gonna be able to join, you know, just by taking the subway or by walking to your office. And how are you gonna connect people together? We have high expectations, and the AR technology is gonna be the bridge between the physical world and the metaverse for the future of work. Do you have any questions? Feel free. So it was a pleasure, of course. If you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat. Frederic, prepare already some questions for me. I know you haven't seen the presentation before today. We make it in purpose so Frederic can ask questions. Frederic is going to be able to read your question too in the chat, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Yeah, cool, Nassim. Yeah, it was a cool presentation that I haven't seen. Yeah, it's a nice one. Yeah, I'm going to play a bit of a role of a journalist here, asking a few questions. First, like maybe a tricky one. What are the misconceptions about the metaverse? What not to expect? Because for example, like Facebook Meta, they say, oh, it's amazing, it's going to be like our daily life, etc. But I try to be skeptical by nature. So what not to expect from the metaverse?
Yeah, I think, especially for the mass market, I think most of the relationship and the collaboration or the social between people are still gonna be from reality. Like I don't think the virtual environment can replace the reality. It's gonna be an add on it, but I don't think like people are gonna spend days and days in a row into the metaverse. I don't say like no one, but I think the majority of people. So this is what I would say.
Okay. And second question is like, why are we seeing the rise of the metaverses like now? If you think about like when arrived Second Life, 2003, and it was not such a first. I mean, of course, we talk about it, but we never need to give a name to it. And now it looks like for like 1 or 2 years, boom, there's like metaverses everywhere. So what's that it's happening now and not before? Is it connected to cryptocurrencies because of the hardware? And yeah, how can you explain that?
Yeah, I think it's a mix. I think the principal reason is like the COVID, because a large amount of the population and a lot of people who doesn't used to be, stay home in front of a screen, had that opportunity, and that's why metaverse was really for like the gaming industry, because there are already people, we spend a lot of time online, there are people who spend a lot of time in immersive environments. And so that's why, like, I mean, Second Life has been used mostly by gamers. It's been a really like for the gaming industry, as the same as Fortnite. And I think, it came to the mass market, I would say, first of all, because of COVID and because people, you have to spend a lot of time online and to find a lot of ways, to get connected with people because they had no choice, they were stuck. The second one, of course, I think it's like what did Facebook changing to Meta, but basically releasing the Oculus Quest 2 in October 2020. So, it has been like 8 or 9 months after the COVID start, and they released that technology for people who were stuck and were looking for experiences, in the reality. They really like these two, COVID plus like the release of in the mass market of like, hardware makes then the metaverse becoming a big thing. And, it's like really next to our finger.
Yeah. Well, between my questions, I would just pick some like attendees question as well. One is about future metaverses migrating to the GPU load. I think it's more for me actually. A tricky question. The thing is, we want it to be accessible everywhere, and especially for in the topic of work, right? So how do I access like a gigantic world like just on my phone or just on a basic laptop? So that's why there's like many technologies at the moment have been developed, and the one we are really waiting for next year is like web GPU. So basically that allows the browser to access the full capacity of a graphic card, because for now it's limited. You cannot write on the card. So from next year, and of course the update of Chrome and the other browsers after, we'll be able to use the full like capacity of a computer the same way when we install and like a game. For now, like most of the, let's say like more like game metaverse, let's say Sandbox or Roblox, you need to install locally on the device to be able to use fully like the 3D. In our case, Bubbler is fully is browser based, and we want to limit on that so everyone can access anytime, and including phone, etc., and tablet, and of course web GPU is a big thing coming. I have another question that's going to be for you, Nassim. Do you think, do you think democratization will happen through a shared metaverse, a single like space shared between multiple companies? It's a bit like join one of my question. Actually, I'm gonna see one's gonna be in place, or as an example, are we gonna see one after another? Let me finish like for example, when there was Facebook around 20 years ago, you had all your friends joining all of that. And when Instagram arrived, I see many friends just see it as a way to reboot their connection. They're so tired of seeing the picture of their kids, all of that. They're happy to reopen like a new branch of a social life. So are we gonna have one big metaverse or many?
Okay, that's a really big question, and that's a big subject. I mean, there is different point of view. There is big war. I mean, if you're a bit involved in the metaverse, with Facebook, because Mark Zuckerberg kind of wants to take it over. And on the other side, Tim Sweeney, so the CEO of Epic Games, who really push for, what they call democratize metaverse, which means not one version, but a lot of, metaverse. I think the way to see it is like, it's internet. Does someone own internet by itself? No, of course, there is like giant company who get like a big part of the traffic. Google is one of them. And it's a gate, to internet, but there is not only Google, you have Facebook, you have like Amazon, but like, take a big part of like internet. So let's do exactly that. Like metaverse, the metaverse is kind of the new internet. It's a 3D internet, more immersive. It's like live. There is ownership. There is like the Web 3D 3.0. There is a lot of components, but let's say that it's internet. So no one is really owning internet, but of course, lots of large corporations want a big part of it. Lots of companies are create what we call like a cross metaverse avatar. So what we know and what we can feel more and more, which is gonna be the future, is like whoever is owning the metaverse you're hanging out, the metaverse you're working on, the metaverse you're doing shopping. So let's say you're doing Amazon shopping metaverse, and then you're hanging out in Facebook Horizon. What we kind of know right now is like you're probably gonna have the same avatar. We're gonna be able to jump in different metaverse. So of course the question, like there is a lot of like I won't say fight, but there is a lot of people trying to see what is the future of the metaverse. So again, I think metaverse is like internet, so no one really owns internet, but big company is gonna try to get like most of the people on their own metaverse.
All right. Maybe next question, I guess maybe for both of us, when will you be able to achieve like a fully functional haptic feedback? Basically like this very cool glove when we can touch things. Well, I mean, they already exist. It just costs a fortune. That's like the bottleneck in all of that. And I don't know if Nassim, you have like insight about how much it would cost in 2022 or 2023, but I don't see it coming cheap very soon.
Yeah, I mean, this technology already exists, which is the glove or the full suit. I mean, they released one in AWE. That's the same. Who is gonna wear a full suit or wear gloves? I presume gloves gonna be more popular, than the full suit. The technology exists. It's not for mass market right now, too expensive. But this technology, there is a lot of investment in that type of technology. Actually, Meta just bought one of the company, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, and gonna invest a lot of money into it. So I would say, yeah, something like 2023, 2025, something that's gonna be more and more common for people using VR and using the stick. I think you're gonna switch to gloves within the next like 5 years.
Yeah, because just comment on that. Using glove is like, I mean, being able to touch a keyboard is so important, because actually if it's only 2 sticks, it takes ages to type whatever. When we work, mostly we use like the keyboard either for instructions, or I'm not talking about like the coders. So that's the technology is going to happen no matter what. Yeah, it won't be a gimmicky, it won't be like a proper tool, just need couple of more years. Maybe next question about like the copyright in the metaverse. What do you think about that? And maybe we can link the conversation with maybe NFTs or in that. What's your view about it?
Yes, that's a key component, for sure. This is something we haven't mentioned in our presentation because we really wanted to focus on the future of work, and especially the future of work at that kind of short term. But at long term, of course, metaverse, there is a big component, and maybe it joins the question of before, it's going to be one metaverse, but there is a big component of decentralization and on blockchain. To jump on NFT, it's a lot of people are using NFT right now, non-positive token, which is actually, like smart contracts. It's smart contract between two entities, which is like, make it real by like the blockchain, approved by the blockchain. Basically, this is exactly what they say. The NFT is going to be a certificate of ownership in the metaverse. Like the real world, basically, you know what I mean? You can buy like real items, the real Nike, the real Louis Vuitton. And there is like, copy, fake one. And then NFT is going to make you able, within metaverses, it's going to make you able to avoid like any copy, basically. Because let's say Facebook can make sure that only NFTs from approved by the brand, released by the brand, are like available on the platform and can like, just let's say you buy shoes, a copy of a shoes, which is not like, we have no pattern into the metaverse world. You're not going to be able to wear them. The software or the owner of the metaverse is not going to leave you getting into this platform with it, which doesn't mean that other metaverse, other environments is going to say, there is no rules for us. You can get with fake Nike and with fake whatever brand you want to wear. But yeah, definitely NFT blockchain is going to be really important for copywriting and for, proof of ownership of any virtual items that you're going to wear. Maybe another component that I haven't mentioned, sorry if I talk a bit too much, but, the market in the virtual world, the market in the metaverse, the market of like, skins or haircuts or like clothes is a really big market. I think last year it was like over 150 million for Second Life, where the most items sold is like haircuts. So, you can buy haircuts and skins for like a couple $1,000s, which is kind of insane, but, it's a whole new way to express people, new way to express themselves. And I think it's really, really interesting. Maybe just to finish with the blockchain, because Frederick mentioned Roblox, but I think what is more interesting, company like Decentraland and company like Sandbox, who through, the blockchain technology are creating metaverse and creating what we call, real estate 3.0, which means like in the metaverse, and we explain and then we show you, there is no physical distance between one world and another world. But you can create a whole ecosystem of metaverse where you're going to have a neighbor, a physical neighbor, where with your avatar, you're going to be able to walk from one place to another place. And this is what creates, mostly for gaming right now, Sandbox and Decentraland are the same. How you make sure that there is no duplicata, there is no more ground, there is no more like land. You create this through non-fugitive token, NFT, and through the blockchain. So, that's really another like application of what's going to happen in the metaverse in the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, another question, maybe I can reply to that. What if the metaverse is the first step of Matrix? I guess is maybe like us, for example, like Nassim and I, and of course other big companies, we are of the actors of this, almost like shaping what's going to be the metaverse and how we use it. So I guess big companies, they're going to, no matter what, try to always sell more. So if the VR headset is working very well, the AR is not, then we're going to be more and more into VR and we're going to push towards that. If the AR is working well, then it's going to be a mix. I personally, I think being outdoor and disconnected is great as well. So as an actor of it, I would try to be away from Matrix as much as possible because it's a bit dark and sad. And but I guess it's like the market actually who's going to decide, actually, sadly. There's another question about comparing optical see-through and video see-through. What's the best for AR hardware? My opinion is that because we want to create like these holograms, we need to be able to scan each other's face, right? So if you have like a massive device in front of your head, you can't scan the person properly and place it in like in a virtual world. When we have like very thin like a lens, like glasses, like we saw in Nassim's video from the movie, you can see the person's face. So I personally think it's going to be like the thin optical one and not the video ones. Nassim, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm pretty agree with you. I'm pretty agree with you on the subject.
Yeah. So maybe, yeah, bounce back to one of my own questions is like, well, which medium do you think is going to be the future work tool, like more like AR or VR? Or both is going to be together?
It's really a challenge. I think it's like a competition with both of them. In some way, I see both used in different companies for different things. I think most of the meeting are gonna be using AR because you're gonna have trouble with people going to the office to wear like a VR glasses. But I think like training and lot of process and lot of working within the company going to use VR system. So I think it's going to be a mix. There is never like black or white. I think WebXR is going to be a big thing too, because before, like most of the company are able to afford like hundreds of like, VR headset or AR glasses. There will be years and years and years. And then before companies are going to be able to convince, older people, because, a company is a mix of like different generations to use VR in their company is going to be pretty tough. So I think the three technology are going to be, used in the future. And of course, at a long term, I think WebXR is going to be less used when like, the technology of VR and AR are going to be really masterized. But I think we're talking about like at least 20 years from now. You need kind of a generation to get retirement.
Mm. All right. Okay, cool. Well, I don't see any new questions. I think we can maybe wrap it up.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you, Siggraph, to have us. 2 years ago I was in physical, this time in virtual. Hopefully next year it's going to be physical again.
Exactly.
Yeah, please have a look at bubbler.co or like virtual office solutions. And any questions, drop us an email, and I'm happy to catch up in any metaverse.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
See you. Bye-bye.